Good evening, baseball whalers. How we all doing? Hope you had a great weekend. It's Sunday, and we're only about 2.5 weeks away from opening day, so things are looking good. Today, we're going to talk about the Washington Nationals and what we can expect from them in 2021. I think of the Nationals like the sister equivalent of the Boston Red Sox, the American League. They're a team that won it all and then quickly lost favor and started sinking fast. But we'll see what happens. I think they have a brighter future in the Red Sox. I think they can turn it around much quicker than the Red Sox can. As a matter of fact, I expect a better year from the Nationals than the Red Sox. And I'm even going to say that everyone's talking about the Braves and the Mets, but I think the Nationals are going to be a serious third player in that division. And it wouldn't surprise me if they won it all either. Uh, it is amazing that they fell from grace so quickly last year, finishing in last place. Uh, that but it was only a 60-game schedule, so I'll give them a break. And in 2019, remember, they got off to a horrendous start too. But last year, they only had a 433 winning percentage, and that is the worst of any defending world champion since the 1998 Marlins, who had a 333 winning percentage when they won 54 games and lost an amazing 108 games after winning the championship because they just blew up that whole organization. But the good thing is the Nationals didn't blow up their organization. They actually tried to add a few missing pieces. And the pieces that they did add are Josh Bell and Kyle Schwarber, who are excellent, excellent players in their own right, slumped during the crazy 2020 year, but had fantastic years in 2019. And if they can come back and play more like 2019 than 2020, they're going to add pop to that Nationals lineup. And there's a lot of pop already in there. But if these two guys can play like they have in the past, expect big things from the Nationals offense. I know I am, and that's why I'm thinking they could be one of the big sweepers here that just aren't getting the street cred from the baseball world the way they should be. A couple of the players that need to rise to the occasion for the Nationals at this point in time are Josh Harrison, Carter Kieboom, and Louis Garcia. Keep an eye out for them. They've had high hopes for Carter Kieboom for quite some time now, so we'll see what happens with Carter. It's time. It's time for Carter. How old is he? He is 23, so he should be coming into his own now. They're going to hand him the third base job, and we'll see how he does. I think he'll do all right. And we all know the keys to that team, and we'll get into them later, Soto and Trey Turner. Those are two of the best players you could possibly have in baseball right now, and they're going to do everything they can to sign those guys. I mean, the general consensus is Juan Soto may be one of the best pure hitters in baseball, period. And some are saying he's even the best. I mean, this guy can hit and hit with power, and he makes it look so easy, so effortlessly. And Trey Turner has all the tools. He's 27 now. There's been high hopes for him ever since day one. And I think the experience, it's a tough position, shortstop, to automatically become a superstar. But I think Trey's ready to blossom into his own. When you have two players like Soto and Trey Turner to build your everyday lineup around, it's going to be a good ball club. So that's why I expect big things from those two. And in turn, they'll do a lot of help for the Nationals. The pitching is always key with the Nationals. They have some really good starting pitching if everything works out. By working out, I mean, Steven Strasburg has to be healthy. He has to come back from his injury. And we could see when Steven Strasburg remains injury-free and can do well, he is a great pitcher. I mean, there's no doubt about it. And Scherzer is just a beast. He's defying all logic. He's getting better with age. And we'll see how Max goes this year. Max, if it wasn't for Jacob deGrom, he'd be probably my pick for the pitcher of the National League. And Strasburg is right behind him. And Patrick Corbin for a number 3 man, you can't ask for anything better. John Lester, they're going to roll the dice on. Hopefully he can capture some of his form, and I think he'll be all right. I'm not giving up on John Lester at all. I think he'll give you innings. I don't think he has the power he once did. And he'll give up a lot of hits, but he knows that he's a crafty pitcher. And I know when they get older, all of a sudden they become crafty, but not expecting much from John Lester in the 4 or 5 hole, probably the 5 hole. And I like him. I do like him. I think he'll do okay. And Joe Ross, it's time for him to notch it up a level, put on the big boy pants. Can he do it? We shall see. Uh, I think the Nationals have faith in him, and we'll see if faith is rewarded with Mr. Ross. Now, the bullpen is what really, well, before we go that, I just want to talk about Soto and Turner here. Uh, I don't know if people realize they were number 5 and number 7 in the MVP voting. So that's how powerful those two are. And I didn't touch on that yet. And the key is to lock them in. And it looks like the Nationals are going to go all out to lock in these guys to a long-term contract. And if they do, I think they can build around them. And those two guys will be the cornerstones of the national franchise for 10 years. Now it looks like they're going to make a serious bid. It's not going to be a Bryce Harper, Anthony Rendon thing. I think these guys have much more long-term potential than those two guys. Those two guys were great players in their own right. I think they didn't want to keep. I think there was bad vibes with Harper. This is just my eyesight looking at things and my perception. But I think they are high on Soto. You just, no matter what, he's head and shoulders above Bryce Harper. And Trey Turner, like I said, the shortstop has become such a gifted position now. So he gets lost in the mix, but he's as good as any of them out there right now. And now to get back to the starting pitching, like I said, they should be okay. And they're going to have big, I think, one acquisition, signing Brad Hand as a free agent. That may have been one of the biggest free agent deals of the year. Because personally, I would even go as far as to say Brad Hand is the best reliever in baseball right now. He is that good. I mean, oh my God, does he have a heavy ball? And you just can't touch him sometimes. He is that good. And for a guy with such power, he has good control. And the backup man, Tanner Rainey, the setup man, the 8th inning, probably most likely, and Daniel Hudson, the 7th. That's two more great guys that they do have. And the bullpen's looking good. So if the Nationals have a lead and the pitching can hold, they'll do well. And the guy I love is Will Harris. I mean, I liked him with Houston, and I think he's going to really boss them again this year with the Nationals. Big fan of Will Harris, and I love the Nationals bullpen. Like I said, I don't think there's really too many weak spots. The thing you got to hope for is Strasburg can come back from his injury. John Lester can sort of recapture what he's done in the past. Like I said, with Harrison, Josh Bell, and Kyle Schwarber, if those guys can do what they've normally done in the past, I like the Nationals big time this year. I think they'll easily win 81 games. They'll be over 500, potential 85 to 90. Anything above that will be a question. It's just too tough a division. But again, it wouldn't surprise me if the Nationals actually do very well. Now, getting into the Nationals' history, we all know that their history was with the Expos. After there was a contraction plan that failed, baseball really dropped the ball on that. Well, should never contract when you have the teams out there. Try and salvage what you have because eventually you're going to expand anyway. So the contraction thing made no sense to me whatsoever. But they were purchased by Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball had their kid gloves on them. As I recall, Frank Robinson became the manager, and they were looking for a franchise to relocate the Nationals. I mean, the Expos too. And I think Washington was always their first priority. And they were chosen in 2014. They were established in 2005 in Washington. They were the Nationals. And they were the first franchise relocation in MLB since the third Washington Senators moved to Texas in 1971. So baseball hasn't really been keen on relocating. You always hear rumors of different teams moving at different times. But I think they saw that it was better if the Expos actually moved on to Washington. They were the first team. Remember, the team had back-to-back first overall picks in 2009 and 10 when they drafted Steven Strasburg and Bryce Harper. And boy, were those two hyped up. I remember Steven Strasburg's first pitching start in the major leagues was so hyped. It was like on ESPN, everyone, the whole nation was watching it. Same thing with Bryce Harper, his first year. I mean, they were touting them as the best pitcher and everyday player in baseball history, perhaps. I mean, they got that much hype. I mean, they've done very, very well, Bryce and Strasburg. But My God, I don't recall two prospects back to back on the same team getting as much hype since maybe Dwight Gooden and Dallas Strawberry. Uh, and then the magic carpet ride was 2019 when they advanced to the World Series and they defeated the Astros in 7 games to earn their first championship. From 69 to 2020, when the Expos and Nationals were combined, this is the combined record of both the Expos and Nationals, I should say. They had a one-loss record of 4,003 wins, 4183 for 489 winning percentage. So they had some down years and some up years in Montreal and likewise in Washington. So they've had their good and their bad. But we always remember the good times, and the good time for them was the 2019 season. I remember I was saying how 19 almost mirrored 2020. Well, in 2019, the Nationals started off with a 19-31 record. So if that was in COVID 2020, they would have been out of the picture just like they were last year. And at that point, when they were 19-31, their chances of winning the World Series at that time were 1.5%. So basically, a needle in a haystack. But sometimes you do find a needle in a haystack, and the way you find that needle is you go 74-38 the rest of the way they did. They finished with an overall record of 93-69. So considering you're 12 games under 500 after playing 50 and then finished 34 games over 500, that is pretty damn impressive. So they earned a spot in the wild card. They won the wild card game, which they beat the Brewers 4-3, and it just kept rolling from that point on. In the National League Division Series, a tough series there. They beat the Dodgers in 5 games, and that was their first divisional round victory in franchise history. Now, all those good teams in the 2010s before then never, ever made it past the first round, which is really, really amazing considering all the talent they had. But this 2019 bunch did. And then they swept the National League, the Cardinals to win the National League Championship Series, and they got their first pennant. They really looked impressive in that series. And then who will forget the 2019 World Series? That was a good one. I'll admit that was a good World Series. And they beat the Astros in 7 games. And Steven Strasburg came through with shining colors in the series, and he was voted the World Series MVP. Now, the World Series was their first in MLB. It was the first in MLB history, if you remember. This is just a side note, not necessarily specifically national related, but where the road team won every game in the 7-game series. That is friggin' phenomenal. When you think about the home field advantage, what are the odds of that? If you parlayed that throughout the whole World Series, bet the road team, you came out a very, very rich man. But I do not condone gambling. In the long run, you never win. But I'm just saying, if you did, you would have won money. Now, this year, like I said, I think there's a lot of promise, and they have a pretty good, solid starting lineup with Victor Robles in center, Juan Soto in right, Trey Turner batting third at short, Josh Bell at first. Big things they need from Josh Bell in the cleanup spot. Kyle Schwarber in left, Starlin Castro at second, Yan Gomes behind the plate, and Carter Kieboom, who the pressure isn't on him in the 8th hole, but he needs to start stepping up a little bit. And then the bench has a lot of good names. You got Ryan Zimmerman, Josh Harrison. And yes, whether you like it or not, the baby shark is back. Gerardo Papara is back. And Andrew Stevenson, a good outfielder, and Alex Aviles. It's a pretty solid bench there. I like it. And like I said, the starting rotation, there aren't that many I would pick over this one with Scherzer, Corbin, Strasburg, Lester, and Ross. Not bad at all. If they all stay healthy, big things for that crew. And like I said, the bullpen with Brad Hand and Tanner Rayner, Daniel Hudson, Will Harris, and the cast 1,000 afterwards. Solid bullpen. So like I said, what am I expecting from the Nationals? I'm expecting a season where they're going to give it a ride. They're going to give it their all. Again, and you never know what's going to happen with injuries and who's going to be in a slump, but potentially this team has it. Like I said, it would not surprise me if they finish in first. There's a lot of good teams in the National League this year, that's for sure. And I think the Nationals will be one of them. So my prediction is I'm still a big fan of Atlanta. I'm still a big fan of the Mets. So I'm going to go with the flow and say the Nationals for third place, just due to the fact that I'm not sure what Bell and Schwarber are going to do this year. But if they come through, I see the Nationals finish second or first. So that's it. That's my little summary of what I think is going to go on with the Nationals this year and a little bit of their history. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit like. If you didn't, hit dislike. You're always free to leave comments. I love criticism, constructive, destructive. Or if you just want to talk about the Nationals, I'll reply back to you. And like I said, if you like these videos, I do once a day on the Facebook site, the group site, Baseball Way of Life. We have 9,800 members. If you haven't joined, please do so. And if you just want to check the videos and you're in the group, you can always subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I do more than one a day usually. And you'll be alerted whenever a new one comes up, and you'll get the whole listing of all the videos I've done. And they'll be there at your disposal. So once again, I love all you guys. You guys are the best. You rock it. And I'm just going to say good night for now. Play ball and adios.